Okay, so let us start on our bellies today. So downward facing Shavasana. And use a pillow for your head. So you can turn your cheek to one side. You can make a pillow with your hands. You can have your arms by your side, just turn to one cheek or the other. You could be resting on your forehead. So kind of just try to find a place where you feel comfortable and fairly relaxed. And then go ahead and take a few inhales through your nose and then some full, complete exhales through your nose. As you exhale, feel the front half of your body just melting down into the mat, so getting really heavy. And then start to find that rhythm of your Ujjayi breath. So that inhale through your nose, that exhale through your nose. You start to create that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. It sounds like ocean waves rolling in and out. And then if you have your cheek turned to one side, just go ahead and turn to the other side. Observe if you've started to grip your toes at all. If that's happening, just see if you can stretch out and relax the feet. You might even be rolling a little bit to the outer edges of your feet. Just soaking up these initial quiet moments. So especially on a Monday, that can be really necessary. Good, deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. Just come onto your forehead, reach your arms by your side. So thumbs facing down into the mat. So your palms are facing towards each other, towards the midline. On your forehead, start to lift your shoulder heads up towards the ceiling. So you're starting to get a little lift across your heart and chest already. Anchor down into your hip bones. Roll a little bit to the outer edges of the feet. Feel the inner thigh engage. And then as you inhale, start to extend chest forward and up. So a little version of Shalabhasana here. Maybe try to squeeze your shoulder blades in towards each other a little bit. Roll a little more to the outer edges of your feet. You might feel the glutes squeezing a little bit here. As you press into those hip bones, as you anchor into your pubic bone, maybe you get a little more extension forward and then lift up. When we're deep inhale. As you exhale, release down. So arms just still by your side. You can let those shoulders release down towards the mat a little bit. So let's keep pressing down into our forehead this time. As we inhale, we're going to lift the legs up, and it might not be very far at all. Maybe see if you can lift the shoulder heads here if they're dumping down towards the mat, but keep your forehead pressing. Keep rolling to the outer edges of the feet. And then exhale, release. Take a couple of breaths. And let everything relax here. Maybe even waggle your hips back and forth if that feels good. And then resting on your forehead, feel the shoulder heads lift, feel the legs start to turn on. As you inhale this time, everything lifts up, and try to lift the back of your body evenly with the front of your body. And probably for all of us, one area is going to be easier than the other. So some of us have more flexibility in the legs. Some of us are a little stronger in the upper body. So just noticing and trying to even it out. Maybe that means you need to lower your chest a little bit or lower your feet a little bit. Good. And then just stay here like this with your arms reaching. Place your feet down. And then if it's available in your body, interlace your fingers. And if not, just stay here where you're at. But as you interlace fingers, if you're a little more flexible, take a little bend in your elbows and then start to press your palms together and you get this nice little shoulder stretch here. Gaze soft and gentle in front of you. Breath smooth and steady, anchoring down into your hip bones, your pubic bone. Heart and chest lift. When we're deep, inhale. Exhale, release. And then from here, just take your arms out wide and we're going to come into a little shoulder neck stretch here. So you might want to have a block if you know that you're a little tighter, or a blanket. So arms come out wide. We're going to flip over to our right side first. So go ahead and angle your right arm down to about 45 degrees. Flip onto your right ear. Bend your left elbow. So come up onto your fingertips. It's like a little gecko hand. And then as you inhale, flip that left leg up and over and in out. And you can keep a nice deep bend in that knee. You're kind of pinning that right shoulder, the right ear down towards the floor. It can be quite intense. So again, a little prop underneath is very helpful. Good. If you want to start to extend that left arm up, maybe even lean it back slightly. So be careful. You don't want to overdo it in that shoulder joint, especially if you are hyperflexible. But that stretch can feel really nice. A couple more breaths here. So you're doing this, just feel like you're wrapping those right ribs up towards the ceiling. It might be the tiniest little amount. Deep inhale. Exhale, go ahead and unwind. So just come back to your belly. Good. Resting on your forehead. Take a couple of breaths here. Kind of let it go. Bounce the legs a little bit if you need to. And then we come to our second side. So most of us are going to angle this left arm down to about 45 degrees. If you are more open in your shoulders, you can stay where you're at. Flip onto your left ear. Bend your right elbow. Come up onto those fingertips. So it's like little gecko fingers. And then start to pin that left shoulder down. Flip that right leg up and over. Try to lengthen through that left side of your neck. Keep breathing here. And then finally, if you want to start to extend your right arm up, maybe lean back a little bit. And then just feel like that the very bottom left rib is spinning up towards the ceiling ever so gently. And then everything else just kind of falls in line. Good. One more deep inhale. Exhale. Unwind. Just come to resting on your forehead, bringing your fingertips underneath your shoulder heads. Elbows squeeze in, lengthening back through all 10 toes, rolling a little bit to the outer edges of your feet, moving with the breath into Bhujangasana. Inhale, extend forward and up. Exhale, lower down. Good. Inhaling up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lengthen. Good. Exhale, release down. Inhaling up, just holding here. Feel that openness, that widening across your heart and chest. Feel that lift of your sternum up towards the ceiling. And then from here, just press up to your tabletop position. Just double check that your knees are indeed underneath your hips, shoulders are lining up over your wrists. And then as you inhale, arch into your lumbar. Exhale, press the mat away. Let the neck release down. Continuing like this, close your eyes if they're not already. Just finding a little vinyasa here as we come into our cat-cow stretch. So we just warmed up the spine, coming into those supine or actually they would be prone back bends, but you can just get a little more flexibility in the spine here as you come into this cat-cow. So just enjoy how that feels. It might feel like a nice release on your lower back. Nice work. And then you're really being mindful to connect the movement with the breath. You're finding this sense of rhythm, this sense of moving meditation. Couple more. Good. On your next inhale, come back to neutral spine. You're neither arching nor rounding. Walk your hands forward a couple of inches. Spread fingers, press evenly. We're going to curl our toes under. We're going to keep a nice bend in our knees as we start to press into our hands, pull our hips up towards the ceiling. So really feel those sit bones stretch. Feel the arms turn on here. So the inner arm wraps towards outer arm. Forearms squeeze in towards each other. Stay up on those left toes. Go ahead and melt your right heel back any amount, and you're going to feel a nice stretch through the back of that leg. Back up to tippy toes. Exhale, left leg releases down. Good. Back up to tippy toes. Feel belly pulling it up, and then melt both heels back any amount. You can still keep that bend in your knees. Listen to your breath here, and just maybe nod your head yes. Nod your head no. And then begin to walk your feet forward to meet your hands. Nice and slow, taking your time getting there. As you inhale, chest lengthens. As you exhale, you fold in. Inhale, press down. Stretch arms out and up. So coming into your extended mountain pose. As you exhale, hands come together at your hearts. And we start to flow. Inhaling, reaching Utthita Hastasana into Tadasana. As you exhale, fold in, maybe with that nice bend in your knees. These first forward folds of the day are always intense. Inhaling, fingertips on the floor or hands on shins or thighs, better still because you can get more length. As you exhale, you fold. Inhale, press down to rise up. Letting this feel really good. Just starting to breathe some space into your body. Hands come together at your heart and your exhale. Inhaling, reaching. Exhaling, folding in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold. Good, inhale, press into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Just peek down at your feet so they're about hips distance apart. Second and third toe point forward. So sometimes that shifts as we start to move into these sun salutes. 2 more on your own, just moving with your breath here. Take your time. Maybe close your eyes. Try to pay attention though. So get very curious about each pose and how you're coordinating with the breath as opposed to kind of checking out, because we're really good at these. We kind of know them like the back of our hand. Try to refine it all. Good. And when you're done with that second round, you're just standing with your palms together at heart center in your mountain pose. Feel the arches in your feet lift a little bit so they're engaged. You're pressing into the 4 corners of the feet. Start to root down into your left foot. Squeeze that hip in, pull your lower belly in and up. Rise up onto your right toes. Open up that hip. Stay here like this starting out. Maybe you lift your right foot to the lower left leg. Maybe you can snuggle that foot a little higher so you want it above the knee. And then foot and leg are squeezing in towards each other and kind of pressing out against each other at the same time. This is isometric stretch, palms together at your heart. Inhale, lift your sternum up towards the ceiling. Exhale, pull your lower belly in, and then release your tailbone down. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Maybe bring your gaze up. And then as you exhale, hands come to heart center. Release down. Give the legs a little walk out. Check in with your toes. Did you grip toes, the left toes, to the mat as you did that? So be mindful of that this time. So press into the four corners of the feet, squeezing the hip in. Inhale onto your left toes, and then start to open up that hip. So you could just be here like this. You're getting all of the hip opening, all of the strengthening in that standing foot. Maybe you lift a little higher. Maybe you can reach down. You're gonna help lift that foot above the knee. We don't wanna have the foot on the knee since that's a joint. And then this isometric stretch, everything is pressing into the midline and then pressing out equally. Palms together at your heart. Feel your lower belly pull in and up. Feel your tailbone release down. Good, feel your sternum lift as you keep your gaze straight forward. And then inhale, stretch your arms up. Start to bring your gaze up. Notice all of the little micro movements happening in your right foot. If you're gripping your toes, soften them. As we exhale, hands come to heart center. And we release, give the legs a little walk out. All right, so moving into some full sun salutes here. Find your nice stance. Feet can be together or a little further apart, wherever you feel the most balanced. As you inhale, arms reach out and up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. So keep looking forward, bend knees, plant palms, spread fingers, right foot back, then left. Take a nice deep inhale here in your plank pose. Fire up the legs, use them more than you think you can. As you exhale, you shift forward. Let's lower to knees for this first one. Exhale to halfway, pause, and then exhale the rest of the breath out. Come onto your belly. Inhale, low cobra. Let's just move that a few times with the breath. Exhale, lower, pressing to the outer edges of your feet. Inhale, up. So legs are active here. Exhale, lower. One more. Inhale, up. And you are welcome to stay here. If you're ready for an up dog, drag your hands back a little further. Press into the tops of your feet. Press into your hands. So bringing the chest forward through the gates of your shoulders. Legs really active. Your shins are lifting up off the mat. Your knees are lifting up off the mat. If they're not doing that in this pose, come back down to your low cobra. So that's just going to be healthier for the lumbar spine. If you are in your up dog, roll over toes to down dog. Otherwise, you press to your tabletop. Curl toes under. Here we are again. Second one. Few breaths here. Make any little adjustments that you need to. Make sure that your neck is releasing down. So it's really lengthening. Arms are engaged a lot. Very nice. Sit bone stretching up towards the ceiling. And then as you inhale, a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. End of your exhale options, walk forward, a step right, then left, or hop both feet through, nice and light. Try to keep your arms straight if you're doing that. Good. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, root into your feet. Take up space as you stretch your arms forward or out and up. Inhale, hands come together at your heart. Surya Namaskara A. Inhaling, reaching. Good, hold on to all of the space you've created as you exhale, hinge forward at your hips, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Keep looking forward, bend your knees, plant your palms, left foot back, then right foot. This same exhale, you're shifting forward on your toes, maybe coming to knees, lower halfway, hover, or all the way down. Good. Inhale into your back bend. As you exhale, you pull back to your downward facing dog. Few breaths here. So this is like home base. We make any tiny little adjustments that we need to, and then resist the urge to fidget here. So find this place of stillness in this pose. Start to refine your breath. Slow it down if it starts to speed up. Find length through the back of your neck. As you inhale, a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. End of your exhale, walk forward, step left then right, or hop both feet through. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold in. Good, inhale, press into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. A few more of these. So building a little heat in the body. Inhaling, stretching up. Good. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Bend your knees, plant your palms, right foot back, then left. You're stretching out this exhale. You can do full plank to chaturanga or modified chaturanga. Inhale into the back bend that feels best for you today. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. Find that place of stillness. Hi, Susie. Good, inhale, a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. End of your exhale, lightly spring forward, step right then left, or just walk your feet forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Press down to rise up. And hopefully you're starting to feel a little taller here as you exhale, hands come together at your heart. We've got two more. Inhaling, reaching. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, left foot back, then right. You're stretching out this exhale as you move through your version of that chaturanga vinyasa. You can mix and match. Inhale, low cobra. As you exhale, downward facing dog. Tiny little adjustments, and then find that place of stillness. Listen to your breath. As you really root down into your hands, can you lengthen more through your spine? And then as you lift your sit bones up towards the ceiling, but melt your heels towards the floor, can you find more length through the backs of your legs? As you inhale, a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes, peek where you're going. End of your exhale, walk, step left and right, or hop through. Inhale, chest extends forward. Make sure that the weight doesn't fall entirely into your heels. As you exhale, fold in. Press down to rise up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. One more. Let this feel really good. Inhale, reach, stretch up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Then knees, plant palms, spread fingers, right foot back, then left. Same exhale, you shift forward on toes, lower to halfway hover or all the way down. Inhale into your low cobra or your upward facing dog. As you exhale, downward facing dog. Couple breaths here. So we've done a lot of these downward facing dogs at this point. I want you to check in with your body and just notice how you're feeling. Does it feel a little more spacious, a little easier? Can you start to refine and fine tune? Can you engage the legs more? So you feel that inner thigh wrap towards your outer thigh. You feel the backs of your thighs press up towards the ceiling. Good, and then as you inhale, a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. End of your exhale, lightly spring forward, step right then left, or walk through. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, press down into your feet, stretch your arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So take your feet about hips distance apart. No wider, maybe a little closer. Peek to see that the second and third toe are pointing forward. All right, so almost feel as though you're tucking your tailbone a little bit, but at the same time you're countering that by pulling your lower belly in and up. As you inhale, knees bend, arms reach up, Utkatasana chair pose. Take your arms as wide as you need to so that you can bring your elbows to straighter. Shift the weight in to the right foot. Just lift your left foot an inch up off the mat. Keep the sensation of outer hips squeezing in here. Deep inhale. Release. On the exhale, okay, and then root into that left foot without gripping the toes. Inhale, just lift that right foot up off the mat, about an inch. You're still in this like one-legged chair pose. Exhale, release. Inhale, press legs to straight. Hands come together at your heart. Couple of breaths. Okay, so root into that right thigh. You can just release your arms by your side here. Take your left leg off to the side. And then just bring your hands to your hips. So we want our hips to stay even. We're gonna cross our left thigh over our right thigh. You might be able to tuck all the way around. For most of us, that doesn't happen. So just be here, feel outer hips and inner thighs squeezing towards each other a lot. Good, take your arms out wide. And then as you exhale, start to sink in to that one-legged chair. Squeezing the legs a lot. Feel your lower belly pull in and up. Feel your tailbone release down towards the floor. Good, and then let's take our left arm under, right arm over. Give yourself a little hug. Start to lift the elbows up. Notice all of the work that standing foot is doing to keep you upright. Good, inhale, nice and slow. Press that standing leg to straight. Release arms down and cross that left leg. Couple of breaths here in Utkatasana. All right, so reach that right leg off to the side. I'll go ahead and inhale, stretch the arms out first, and then cross right thigh over left. So just being here is good. Actually, let's bring our hands to our hips again so we can feel that. They're both facing forward. We want to hold on to that. Maybe you can tuck that right foot behind your left calf. Good, and then arms out wide. Deep inhale. Full exhale. And then sink in here. So like a one-legged chair, keep squeezing, keep those hip bones facing forward. We're gonna give ourselves another hug. So right arm comes under, left arm over. Start to lift elbows any amount. Try to lift your sternum up here. And then nice and slow, start to press your legs to straight, release your arms. Good. Release that leg, release your arms by your side, take a couple of breaths. And let's move into a couple rounds of our Surya Namaskara B. We're gonna do it with our crescent pose instead of our warrior one today. All right, so as you inhale, knees bend, arms reach up, Utkatasana. Good, as you exhale, you hinge forward, fold in, bring your legs to straight, Uttanasana. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. So options, if you're starting to get cooked, you just step back to downward dog. Otherwise, you step your left foot back, then your right foot. Same exhale. Move through your chaturanga vinyasa, whatever that looks like. So don't get sloppy here. Be very distinct about each pose. Kind of in this sweet spot in terms of our body being warm. And then as you exhale, you pull back downward dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through, walk it off to the right so you're not on a tightrope. Little bend in the back knee. Inhale, rise up. Beautiful work. Maybe straighten that back leg. As you exhale, hands come to the mat. Again, choices, chaturanga vinyasa or step to downward dog. So you're lowering on your exhale. Inhaling into your back bend. You can mix and match. Exhaling, pulling back, downward dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, belly helps step that foot through. Walk it off to the left. Bend your back knee. Deep bend in this left knee. Rise up, crescent pose. And then if you can keep that back or front knee bent, but straighten that back knee, go ahead and do so. Beautiful. As you exhale, hands come to the mat, either stepping to downward dog or your plank pose and taking a chaturanga vinyasa. So always being mindful about what you need. Sometimes we can think that we need to blast out these chaturangas and kind of do every little pose. And we might not actually be feeling that or needing that day to day. So a lot of times less is more. If I can impress upon you guys anything, is that you're always paying attention and making little adjustments. And it's hard to do because we're all go-getters. As you inhale, a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. End of your exhale, walk forward, spring forward, or step right then left. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Find that bend in your knees again. Utkatasana, chair pose. Good. Press your legs to straight as you exhale. Hands come together at your heart. So definitely feeling a little more heat. We're going to do one more. Skip the chaturangas if you need to. Inhale, knees bend, arms reach up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in, Uttanasana. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Bend your knees, plant your palms, step to downward dog, right then left, or it's a plank. Lowering. And then inhaling into your low cobra or upward dog. Exhaling into your downward dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through. Make sure you're not on a tightrope. Inhale, strong legs carry you up. Press palms, maybe gaze up. Exhale, hands to the mat. Downward dog or chaturanga vinyasa. Moving with the breath. Nice and methodical about each pose. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through. Good, inhale, rise up. Crescent pose. Good, as you exhale, hands come to the mat. So downward dog or chaturanga vinyasa. Listen to what you need. It's always shifting. And as you pull back into your downward facing dog, take a nice deep inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. And then come down into a quick little child's pose. So big toes together, knees apart. And then just melt hips back, stretch chest forward. Really consciously try to slow your breath down. So inhaling to the count of 5 or 6. And then exhaling to that same number. You might be noticing that you're breathing a little heavier here, that your heart is beating faster. These are really good things. We need to challenge our bodies a little bit, build a little heat. Start to walk your hands off to the right. So just finding a little twist. You can just rest your left cheek, ear on that inner left arm. Start to wrap those left ribs up any amount. Good, walk back to center. And then off to the left with your arms. So little twist here, gentle little spinal twist. Notice how it's feeling. Start to wrap the right ribs up towards the ceiling. Might just be the tiniest amount. Good, and then start to walk back to center. So peek forward between your hands. Make sure that your arms are shoulders distance apart. Then reach them so far forward that as you spread your fingers and press, you have your downward facing dog arms. Your forearms start to lift up off the mat. Rock on up to your tabletop. Your wrists should be slightly ahead of your shoulders. Curl your toes under, downward facing dog. As you inhale, you find a little bend in your knees. Come to your tippy toes. End of your exhale, lightly spring forward. Walk forward or step left and right. Nice kneel. As you inhale, chest lengthens. As you exhale, you fold in. Inhaling, knees bend, arms reach up. Utkatasana, chair pose. All right, put the weight in your right foot, lift your left foot up. Keep breathing, keep smiling, place it down. Inhale, lift that right foot up, couple of breaths. And then exhale, place it down, press legs to straight. Hands come together at your heart. All right, couple of breaths here. Okay, so we're gonna come back into our triangle pose, and we're gonna do a version of, tree pose and legs, but we're gonna do eagle pose in our upper body, and then shift that pose back into crescent pose with eagle arms. So stick with me here. Let's start by rooting down into our right leg. That right foot, feel the outer hip squeeze in, lower belly pulling in and up. Come up onto your left toes. Find that hip opening. Good. So stay here like this, and you can lift a little higher. Maybe you use your hand to help you bring that foot to the inside of your thigh. Now stay here super long. Good. And then take your arms out wide. You're breathing, you're looking at something in front of you that isn't moving. We're gonna take our right arm underneath our left arm. So finding that eagle pose. Good. So elbows start to lift. Shoulder blades release down. And I should mention here, you could have the backs of the hands pressing. You could still be hugging and just staying there. Or maybe you're reaching around and coming into the full expression of eagle arms. So palms pressing. Imagine that somebody's gently pulling up on your wrist. Keep rooting down into that right foot. Just release your left foot. So it comes forward, and just take a breath or two there. You can see how much I'm working to keep upright. So I want you to start to hinge forward at your waist. Keep reaching fingertips forward. Find a bend in your right knee. Start to really reach your left toes back. And then come on up into your crescent pose. Once you get there, so you want to make sure that you're not on a tightrope, so you upright your upper body. Beautiful work. Back leg is strong and straight. Nice deep bend in that right knee. And then hinge forward at your waist. So reaching fingertips forward. Start to lift that back leg up. You've got that bend in your right knee. Cross your left foot over, or left thigh rather, over your right thigh. Full eagle pose. Exhale, sink a little deeper. And then inhale, press up. Ooh, let it go. Give everything a little shake out. Take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out. Those are really good. And then we're gonna come into the second side. So rooting down into your left foot, all of the same actions we've been working on. Lower belly is engaging. Come up onto your right toes. Resist the urge to let that left hip pop out. Open up your hip. Stay here. Maybe you lift the foot a little higher. Maybe you come into that full expression of tree pose in your legs. Inhale, take your arms out wide. Good, and then we're gonna give ourselves that hug. So left arm comes underneath. You could be here, elbows stacking, backs of the hands pressing, maybe palms press, and then start to lift the elbows up. Try to lengthen through the sides of your waist. Try to pop that sternum up towards your elbows. You'll feel the shoulder blades start to squeeze in towards each other, the center of your back. Okay, so put your brain in that left foot, that standing foot. Feel the arch engage and lift. So if your toes are on the ground, you just bring the right knee forward, lift it up. Beautiful. And then as though we're passing through a version of our warrior 3, start to reach that right leg back. Hips stay even, right toes point down. Bend your left knee. Ooh, wobble, wobble. Good, and then come on up to this crescent pose with eagle arms. Big, big shoulder stretch. All right, keep those outer hips squeezing in. Exhale, start to lean forward. Shift the weight into that left foot. So it's in Utkatasana. And then wrap your right thigh over your left thigh. Feel those outer hips squeeze in towards each other. Feel your inner thigh squeeze. Lift elbows up. Beautiful work. Inhale. Press. Ooh. Legs to straight. I don't know about you guys, but I felt that in the shoulders a lot today. So give everything a little shake out. Pedal back and forth between your feet. Ooh. That hard part is over. So before we start to do some more deeper stretching, let's go ahead and come into a wide-legged stance. We're going to just do a little twisting here. So you might want a block or a book if that's helpful for you. If you're pretty flexible, have long arms, you might not need one. But take a nice wide stance, long edge of your mat. So edges of the feet are parallel with the edges of the mat. Bring your hands to your hips, elbow squeeze in. Release your tailbone down, feel your sternum stretch up. Deep inhale. As you exhale, start to hinge forward at your waist. And we're gonna bring right hand down, and we're gonna actually flow a little bit here. So pressing down into your right hand or hand on block. We're gonna start out nice and small. Inhale, lift that left arm, doesn't have to be very big. Exhale, left arm presses. Inhale, right arm lifts. Good, so just a little side to side like this, nothing too big. So we're not even trying to find that twist yet. Inhale, lift. Exhale, anchor. Good, inhale, lift. Exhale, root down. Good, and then as you start to feel warmer in your body, maybe you start to open up a little more. So that arm that is lifting, you start to wrap those opposite ribs in that direction. Feel your shoulder blades release down your back here. They're still stacking. Good, and we're gonna come into the hold here. So the next time your right palm is rooting down, press there. Extend to the extent that you can go in your body. You might be able to get your shoulder blades to stack on top of each other. Nice. Maybe you're gazing up at those left fingertips. Feel the outer hip squeeze in. And then imagine that there's a wall behind you and you're just trying to press your sit bones back into that wall. So you're very stable in the legs. Looks good, Neil. Deep inhale here. As you exhale, you unwind, root down into your left palm. And then inhale, start to open up that right arm. Keep the outer hips squeezing in towards each other, the outer edges of the feet squeezing in. Press those sit bones back into that imaginary wall behind you. Maybe start to bring your gaze up if it feels okay in your neck, and if it doesn't, you skip that. You do want to feel as though the back of your neck is an extension of your spine, though, so sometimes we kind of let the chin fall here. Engage a little bit those muscles in the cervical. Good, deep inhale. As you exhale, you unwind, and then just hang forward here. So you can bring your hands, both hands to the block. You can have a deep bend in your knees. If you wanted to hook big toes with your middle and index finger, inhale, lengthen, and then exhale, fold in, start to pull up on the toes. So you're kind of doing like a funky wide-legged chaturanga with your arms. That can feel really nice sometimes. Few good breaths. All right, so if you've got your toes hooked, just release. Everybody inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, hands to hips, elbows squeeze in. Inhale, press into your feet, rise on up. And then step your feet together. Good, and then we're gonna come to seated. So if you know you're a little, if it's hard for you to sit tall, grab something to sit up on, and then maybe have a strap here. We're gonna come into our Jana Shirshasana. So first finding our Dandasana. So this is a seated version of our mountain pose. So you're rooting down into your sit bones. You're feeling your shoulders stack over those sit bones. You're getting lots of length through the sides of the waist. Legs are really active and engaged here. Your toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. So let's keep that right leg extended. Just bring the sole of your left foot to the inside of your right thigh. So this is like a seated tree pose. And then from here, a couple of options. You're either going to take that strap around the sole of your foot. It's kind of a little below the bridge, slightly above the arch, kind of that in-between place. It helps to articulate the foot. And then as you hold onto the strap and walk your hands down at any amount, you might be sitting pretty upright. As you're doing that, you're wrapping your left ribs up towards the ceiling. If you're able to go a little deeper, maybe you extend your arms up. Find that twist. Hold on to the twist as you start to reach forward. Hands, fingertips fall wherever they may. Maybe you can grab your right wrist with your left fingertips. That's nice. It helps you to wrap it a little more. Be really mindful though, especially if you're a little hyper flexible in the joints. Maybe find a little micro bend in that right knee just to protect that joint. And then you're consciously slowing your breath down here. You're stretching out the inhale. You are stretching out the exhale. You're paying attention to your body, and that can become really challenging in these static poses. Chatter often kicks up either because the sensation is a little intense, it's uncomfortable. Sometimes for some of us, this is really easy in our bodies, so we sort of check out. We start to worry about the to-do list. So if this is easy in your body, I encourage you to engage the muscles a little more. So even fire up your glutes, firm the muscles above the knee, especially in that extended leg. And you might find all of a sudden that, oh, I'm feeling that stretch. And then conversely, if this is really intense for you, back out a little bit. Find a little bend in the knee, a bigger bend. Couple more good breaths here. Good. As you inhale, slowly roll up wherever you're at. Use your left hand to the outside of that left knee to just help draw it in. And then make sure that your knee, left knee is over ankle. Ankle might even be slightly ahead. So as you press into that foot, also feel yourself pressing into your sit bones. And we're going to take a little twist here. So either hugging with your right arm, reaching your left fingertips behind you. If it feels like you can get in a little deeper, you can lift that right arm up on an inhale and then exhale, empty out, twist in, elbow to the outside of that thigh. Find that isometric stretch again. So they're kind of working against each other. And then notice if your right toes have fallen asleep, they often do. Press into the center of that heel. Point those toes up towards the ceiling. So find that engagement in the leg. Nice kneel. You might be looking out over that left shoulder. You might not be. Good. One more deep inhale. Exhale, unwind, come back to center. So extend that left leg to straight. Second side. So from your Dandasana, bring the sole of your right foot to the inside of your left thigh. Little micro bend in this left knee, especially if you tend to be a little more flexible. And then start to from the outer hips in a little more. If you're a little tighter, strap around your foot is a really great variation. You could be sitting up pretty upright, but still be getting a really nice stretch. And then if you are a little more open here, stretch your arms up, twist torso to face towards that extended leg, and then extend out over, maybe grabbing your left wrist with your right fingers. So all of these variations are good. Again, it shifts from day to day. I've been reading a lot about kind of repetitive stress injuries, particularly as they pertain to yogis. And obviously there are a lot of poses that we do over and over again. But by and large, it's those who are more flexible, who are going for sensation and almost don't know how to sync up the strength in their body, key into that. It's those who are getting injured, and often pretty severely. Some injuries that can take a really, really long time to heal. So I think when we think about yoga, we kind of, most of us think it's about the flexibility, but the strength piece is so important. And if you tend to be stronger, you almost have a little more boundary built into your body. It's like this self-protection mechanism. Whereas if you're flexible, particularly in the joints, well, you do tend to go a little further. Even teachers sometimes will give you adjustments that they probably shouldn't, that can cause injury. So I think it's always good to be reminded of just paying attention, maybe doing a little less, not getting so attached to what the end pose looks like, but being really wise and smart in our bodies. All right, so from here, we're going to start to come upright. Right hand helps to draw that right knee in. So give yourself space here. You want to be able to sit down nice and even into those sit bones. And you're either just hugging with that left arm. This is a great variation in some ways that might help you to get more height in your spine. If you can get in a little deeper, elbow hooks to the outside. And you use that leverage of leg and arm working against each other equally, opposite directions. Keep those left toes engaged. They're pressing up towards the ceiling. And notice how that turns on, again, the muscles in the legs. So we want that. We want to feel those outer hips squeeze in. Couple more good breaths here. Good deep inhale. And then as you exhale, come back to center. So extend legs and then bend both knees. Give yourself a little hug here. And we are going to come into our Shavasana. So if you would like to turn this more into just a gentle little kind of thoracic opening Shavasana, we've done quite a bit of shoulder and twisting stuff, so you should feel pretty good. You can either roll up your mat or a blanket. And then you're going to just lay over that. So kind of, you want your shoulders towards the top end of your mat. And then you can take your arms out wide here. You can do cactus arms. Legs can be extended to straight. So a little Shavasana with a lift if that feels good. If you would prefer to just come into classic Shavasana, you're certainly welcome to do that. As always, if there's any sensation in your lower back, please bend your knees, take your feet wide, and then just allow your knees to knock in towards each other. And then melt in here. You worked really hard. Now rest really hard. You don't have to worry about that to-do list just yet. It's going to be there in a few minutes, I promise. Unfortunately, I promise. Just be in this sweet, quiet spot, this beautiful place that you've worked to, this physical place that you've worked to create in your body. Melting in Shavasana. Good. Take a deeper inhale here. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. And then begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, stretch your arms up overhead. Staying soft and quiet, you're gonna roll to one side or the other. So you can just kind of rest on that blanket if you took that variation. And then using your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. As you root into your sit bones and lengthen through the sides of your waist, feel that gentle lift of your sternum up towards the ceiling, that sense of cobra across your heart and chest. Check in and notice how you feel physically different than when you started. Notice how your breath has shifted, how your headspace has shifted. Send yourself love and gratitude for showing up. That's often the hardest part, for working hard. And just promise yourself that you're going to carry this feeling with you into the rest of the day, into the rest of the week ahead. Bringing palms together at your heart. Bow your head with a smile. Terrific work, yogis. Thank you. Everybody have a good day.